Now I've got this incredible shoreline here, so I want to give that weight. That shoreline is holding up these huge land masses and these big glorious trees, so I really want to give that a good, nice, strong base, a nice, strong line. Let's look for something for the warm parts of the tree. They're not a light value so much as they're a bright, saturated value. I think I'm going to go for pink. And okay, so here we go for the warm parts of the tree. And I've got to break that up too. I don't want to oversimplify the form because I don't want to flatten it out. I want to try and keep with that beautiful organic shape of it. And here we go for the warm parts of it. Let's see, gotta go back into here. So you see I'm jumping around within the composition because all the parts are related to each other, and color is relative. So it's relative to what's going on right next to it. So the sky, it's got clouds in it, and I'm gonna give it a base. I'm not gonna go straight for the blue. Let's give it a pink. For the bluer parts of the sky, just a very, very light treatment here. And for the bottoms of the clouds, a little bit in there too. Okay, then I'm going to use a blue for the clouds. Don't want to leave them white. If I leave white in this composition, it's going to feel like a negative space. So I want to get something going on in all parts of the composition. And I'm trying to think clouds. So I'm going nice and loose and curvilinear. So you want to follow the form. Same thing with the clouds. Even though they're really just vapor, they do have a form, and they have an underside and a top side. So I'm trying to build the composition up, not piece by piece, but the whole thing, almost like bringing a camera into focus. I'm going to go this way and sort of emphasize a little bit of that shoreline here. It's very structural. It's very architectural. Let's go for pink in the water. So we're going to start with the first pink layer. So I've got that hot pink and socking in a color for the water, keeping it kind of light. You know, I don't want it solid hot pink. We're going to go over it with a couple of other layers. So we're almost done with the first layer. What I've got in this first layer are saturated colors, a little bit random, standing in for the areas of dark and light in the landscape. So that's my first layer. That's my handful of pencils. I think what I'm going to do is put these down and regroup a little bit. And we're going to move on to the second layer. So in the second layer, what I need to do is continue to build up these darks. I'm going to go for a blue. Start with this incredible shoreline in through here. It's just so juicy, and what I've picked up here is a Copenhagen blue. Okay. Directional mark making is really important. You know, it's a drawing, so you're going to see my line. So it's important the way that those marks are being made. So I'm reinforcing the shoreline, and I'm also redrawing. I'm always looking at the form. It's not to make it perfect. It's not about making it look like the photograph, but trying to feel like the landscape. Now the trees are the biggest, heaviest masses, so I've got to go back into those. Red is a fantastic color to set those darks in with. So I'm building up my darks with these trees that are further away, using a bit of that warm red, and it's going to make just a beautiful dark. Then we're going to go over here and get that that beautiful dark in there. So it's not even that I'm mixing a purple, because obviously blue and red mix to make a purple. I'm just layering up my colors, my primaries, to make a dark. And I'm going to move through the whole composition and sort of enrich those darks. Now, I will grab a green, not because I want to turn the reflection green, but because I want to build up those darks. Green is a really good pencil, nice color to use to do that. So here we've got kelp green, and it's, oh, just a beautiful, almost like a sappy green that helps to establish the reflection, which will still need to be darker. Darks are really important. Your lights will only look as light as your darks. So if you've really established a nice dark, your lights will look all the more effective. As we go back in the composition, I'm switching more to violet. So you don't want super saturated colors as I move back in the landscape because you don't want to throw those back up at you. Even though it's really dark back here, the darks in the back of my landscape need to be lighter than the darks in the front. Otherwise, that back will get thrown right back at you. Now, one way I can combat that is by really, really darkening my darks in the front. That will cause the eye to feel as if these darks were much closer to you. So after that initial drawing, I can kind of slow down a little bit, but I do want to maintain the gesture of what it is I'm looking at. So I don't want to get too fussy here. So I kind of keep my hand moving through the composition. Okay, the land masses. So I had orange. I'm going to switch to a warm blue, a couple of warm blues, and start making these more solid. Again, these are big land masses, and they're holding up these huge trees. So it's really important that they feel solid. So here we go. And there's a little bit of a demarcation here where the grass is really smooth, and down and through here it's much rougher. And then I'm going to switch to another blue, not as warm, to move into the back part of the grass. And so this is a blue lake, and that goes over the orange. And this helps solidify it too. And I'm still making some drawing adjustments. This kind of comes up and through here and cooling off the back just a little bit. There we go. Okay. So the darks will continue to be built up, and the lights, they're saturated. So there's a real difference between saturated and light. And I'm going to cool this off a little bit too. Stepping back from your work is really important. And I think I might have to do that in a second here. Let's just kind of establish this form a little bit more. And in through here. And I need to look at this for a second. How about the sky? Let's take a look at the sky. Now these clouds have a really nice dark underside. Believe it or not, I'm going to use a little bit of orange in the sky too for the underbelly of those clouds. Not a super saturated orange. Going here for a pumpkin orange that I seem to really like. So the underbelly of these clouds, I'm modifying the blue with some orange. And I'm also going to use some violet. Don't want to get too heavy with them. Again, I'm not mixing my violet with white, so to be able to grab the lighter value works really well. So here we go, getting that sort of darker underbelly of the clouds. And I want to beef up the bluer areas. Again, blue is a primary color. Gotta use blue, cannot create a blue. But I made it much richer by putting that pink under it, as you recall when we started out. So the clouds, rather than just be a negative space, are a very integral and dramatic part of the drawing. And I think what I'm also going to do, so that those clouds stand out a little more, is I'm going to introduce a different color, and that's going to be a light yellow. And it will just make the clouds stand out a little bit. And now I'm looking at this nice cream color so that the clouds also relate back to the rest of the drawing by having this warmth in them. My land masses, not heavy enough. What I need in them is yellow. So let's go in here with some of the Spanish orange and warm up this front part, which will also help bring it forward. So here we go. And there's all sorts of wonderful organic bumps and lumps in here. And I've got these patches of warmth that are the ground. So I think I am going to grab something just a little bit warmer for that. This is a mahogany red. So it will layer on top of the blue and give us this nice kind of earthy tone.